Hey guys, 2 days of growth we're going to be shaving off today. You can see this brush, I didn't really shake it off too much when I pulled it out. I've been, of course, soaking it in a little bit of water prior to the shave. It definitely likes that. I soaked it for a few minutes last shave. I'd like to give it some more time because it does have quite a bit of backbone due to density. Maybe a little bit longer soak could help that. We'll just see. You can use a timeless again, and I believe it was the Refined Shave commented on a recent video of mine that said he really enjoyed the feather inside the 68 solid bar. I guess technically it's the Scalloped bar, 68 timeless. And this is the stainless steel version, and he really enjoyed that combination of the smooth razor, mild-ish razor with the nice sharp feather blade. And then I didn't want to go through too much trouble about explaining scents tonight because I'm just really tired. And so I picked up this one. I've used it once before, and the lavender and what is it, lemongrass or something that it's supposed to be, it didn't really appeal to me too much. Of course, I love the cause that this is for. This is for people this is to support mental health efforts, and the Semicolon project was a benefit organization, and it seems like they kind of paused for a little while or something, and then so there were two other projects that they decided to funnel their money to the benefit. A little bit of profits from the sale of this soap goes to those charities that support mental health, mental well-being, because some people have trouble reaching out and getting help. And lavender is a very relaxing scent. It's known for that, and so that's a large part of it. So let's use it again and see if I want to keep the soap around. The brush that you saw, the red one, is a That Darn Rob handle. Now he's called Chisel and Hound. And the feather looks like it's got about 8 shaves on it. The knot in the brush is Declaration B9A, and it's a 24 millimeter. And I got it recently because I used that 28 millimeter brush, and I like the tips, but the density there was just so much that it was, of course, causing the backbone to be quite stiff. So there we go, the feather's loaded up, and it was too stiff for me. The first try with this one, a smaller diameter, did not give me the hope that I was looking for. It was still quite stiff. However, can't judge it by just one use. All right, so let's hope it relaxes a little bit. If everything goes according to plan, I've got the Intrepid Man splash here from Stirling after the shave. I believe we are ready to go. I am going to wet my face, and then we will load up. It's a used puck, and get rid of some of the water in here. It does hold quite a bit. So it did get a chance to soak for maybe 7 minutes or something like that. All right, and let's do maybe a 25-second load. 10 rolled around right there, so now we can go to 35. I like the handle on this. I'm not quite a red fan, but who knows? If I grow to like this knot, then maybe I will grow a little fond of the red color. That's 25 seconds. We didn't really generate very much froth, so let's do another 5 seconds. May not need to, but I just decided to go ahead and if I do a little bit more than I need, then no big deal. All right, so that will be a 30-second load. All right. I've been working through samples that I've got of Declaration Grooming Milksteak, a wonderful Redditor online, made available to the people on the subreddit, samplers of the new scents, because it just seems like I blinked and Scott put out like 7 new scents, you know? Pretty cool. And so I was very happy to try to get one of those samplers. And I've tried, I actually bought Hindsight, so I didn't really need that one per se. I think I tried Confluence, but I could be wrong. But then I've recently, from this sampler, used, am I going to have a brain break here and not be able to remember the two that I used? Oh, Bangarang. Now that we've kind of got it creamy, we will start adding water. And then there's another one that I'm forgetting. But I've got Opulence coming up, Son et Lumière, which means sound and light. Got that one coming up. I've got Cygnus X1, I believe is the one. And then Epiphenomenon, I believe, is the 4th one that is untried so far. So I'm looking forward to those. The scent descriptions looked good. Now this looks very wet. It's very goopy and it's very thin and slidey. So we just want to make sure that, because I did add 2 teaspoons of water right away, just to give it a workout here, because what we've got is some concentrate in the brush, and so we add the water. We just need to circulate everything around and let that concentrate find the water, and then it'll turn into magical, wonderful lather. I didn't really want to try one of those new 4 samples because I didn't want to have to be too pensive. I didn't want to try to analyze the scent. I didn't want to try to remember the notes and convey them properly to you while I was so tired. And see, now we have, it's not quite so liquidy anymore. And so sure enough, we must have had some concentrate that needed that water. I think maybe I'm not going to add any more water. I think this looks good. So let's just mix for another minute. A little bit of time. That lavender scent is definitely stepping up. The lemongrass, I believe it's the lemongrass that's the secondary scent. Both of those are definitely coming up to my nose. All right, let's do it. Get my face wet. I will be glad to put my head on my pillow tonight. And we are working to shave off 2 days of growth. It is kind of being that wall of badger that it's kind of difficult to keep in display. I think maybe it's a little nicer today than it was the last shave, so that's encouraging. There's some people who don't like to splay as they work their brush. They just focus on the tips, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. If that's what you want to do. And so this brush is not really going to have a problem with that, but even so, even if I was just using the tips, I would probably want a brush that would have a little bit of give to the tips, so it didn't feel like I had these soft, it's like I'm rubbing a tennis ball on my face, kind of soft and fuzzy on the outside, but it's firm underneath that, you know, a velour or a velvet covered tennis ball, because the shape is not really moving. The shape is continuing to be that kind of dome shape. As you can see, it is splaying a little bit, but it sure doesn't really seem too much like it on my face. And that extra around my beard does usually mean that I could add some water to the lather if I wanted to. The scent here is a nice, enjoyable lavender. I think if I were to keep using it, it would probably kind of gradually weaken a little bit, and that might put it in a place where I might enjoy it more. Not quite so strong, but it's one of those things where if this was the only soap you had, you were gifted a soap, you didn't have the budget to have a soap rotation or anything like that, then yeah, stick with it, enjoy it. But I've got a lot of soaps, and so every time I use a good soap, even a good soap, then I'm not able to use a great soap. I'm not able to use one of my favorites, you know, like Barrister and Man Diamond. So this feather is doing great. It is moving through the hair pretty easily. It's not just readily cutting everything out of the way. I can tell that it's not doing that, but that's not what we always want. Just gradual beard reduction is all we need. And it's doing that nicely. And I would have probably appreciated a little bit more water in that lather for that pass. That we're not gonna be too picky tonight. So what I might do is squirt another half teaspoon or so in the bowl here and combine it, mix it up here. And so that's just a testament to when I added the 2 whole teaspoons in the beginning, it looked like I added too much, but I hadn't equalized the mixture yet. It still just wasn't well mixed. There was soap that needed that water. And indeed, it actually ended up needing more water than even that. So make sure you give it a good mix so that you know. And this is ready to go. I'm going to give my face a quick little half rinse. And I will remind you that so many things about shaving, if not every single thing, are subjective. So even the rinsing between passes, there are some people who don't. Some people who just shave 3 times and then rinse at the end. Some people like me kind of do a partial rinse, leave a little bit of the slickness on your face to help out the next pass. Some people do a full rinse sometimes the rinsing is actually nice, because if you are using a scent that's a little bit weak from the soap, from the lather, getting your head down in there in the sink and just really getting a good complete rinse really does give your nose plenty of time to be in and around the scent. Cross grain now. Feather inside of the mild Timeless 68. Someday I'm going to get the smooth head that does not have the scalloping, just because I think it looks cool. But vanity purchases like that, kind of low on the totem pole. Now this lather's a lot better. I don't know if you want to go back there and kind of replay the shave on that first one, but I bet you'll be able to see visually how the lather was different. That lather needed more water. This one, pretty much perfect. It is very wet, hydrated, very slick. I don't have a pasty feeling. I don't feel like I'm shaving on a somewhat dry environment. So let's load up for the third pass. And this is 30 seconds of loading, and that's a nice generous amount of lather, a couple of passes extra that I don't need to use. The tips are nicer on this shave than they were the first time, so that's nice. Backbone's still quite strong, but we'll give it, I really should have given it a nice long soak, but I didn't think ahead. Let's counting what's already in the, what's still in the brush, it's more than 2 passes left over. The Timeless, being a smooth razor, is able to handle this stroke right here on my third pass, and I'm not feeling irritation, which definitely happens on most other razors right there. It's a cross grain pass from the opposite direction as I took the first few passes. So the feather made easy work out of the 2 days of growth. Just, you don't always have to buy an aggressive razor or an open comb if you want to shave off multiple days of growth. But if you want a big collection, then why not use them for that way? But I think sometimes people get misled. New guys get misled in thinking they need to. It's like you get a new hobby like golf, and the guy tells you need to buy this whole big suite of things because you need each club for different purposes, and then you get this old fogey who goes out with just a few clubs and does great because he's learned to be skillful, because you don't actually need all those necessarily. I don't feel any irritation at all, so the feathers worked very well. Is that a weeper right there? No, I don't think so. There's a little bit of tug on the skin. You know, I don't have a lot of residual slickness right here. Now, if I do find some lather and then put it around, then I do get that. And if I take and get a little bit of water on my hand and kind of rub it around, then yeah, that kind of wakes up the slickness. So the secondary is kind of conditional with this one. That residual slickness may be there, it may not. It all depends on if you've let kind of your face dry a little bit. All right. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So full rinse. So I've got this alcohol splash from Stirling that I showed you. Sometimes that can actually stir up a little bit of irritation, maybe due to the alcohol content and my skin not being robust enough to handle it. And so sometimes I choose to mitigate that with what's in here. It's the Thayer's witch hazel aloe type solution tonic that they have. This is unscented, alcohol free. And so it can sit here on my face and minister to my face's needs. And you can actually take that toner. I mean, it's just basically aloe with a little bit of witch hazel in it. You can put it anywhere on your skin if you want. And I will let it absorb while I clean up my gear, and then maybe the Stirling will be more able to be received without too much irritation. So with the backbone that I felt from this guy, the tips are pretty soft. They're not super soft. They're not gelling or anything, and I like that. Like that they're not. But it's just so dense. There's just a lot of backbone there, and I don't think that in 15 shaves that's going to change too much. Now, 200 shaves, I bet I think there's a chance that it might get to a point where I might like it, but I'm going to guess that 50 to 70 of those shaves, I'm not really going to enjoy all that much. And with other brushes out there that I do enjoy, then that makes you have to make a tough decision. Pass this on to somebody who likes more backbone or keep it around. So I'm going to put more uses on it and just see. Feel it out, see what happens. So the Semicolon was pleasant. It felt a little strong sometimes, but not very much. Those times were short, and I definitely would not have a problem enjoying this soap if I had a small selection. If I was not able to have other soaps, I would enjoy this for sure. And of course, it's nice that it's for a great cause. The water used 2 3/4 teaspoons, in addition to the lightly wet brush, and then 30 seconds of loading. The feather did well. I did not. The cold water rinse that I didn't advise me of any issues. I do feel just a touch of tenderness in a couple of spots, but it's really light. It's almost not even there. I mean, really. I thought that the description of Intrepid Man sounded really good, and so I actually ordered I actually ordered the soap, and then I found a great deal on the whole set. And so I think I probably have that soap to sell because I ended up with 2 soaps. It's not an immediate favorite. I do like it. It's got a little bit of pungency to it, a little bit of a kind of like Sharp Dressed Man, where it's got some punch, kind of that green Irish punch to it. But that does calm down after a little bit. Not quite super strong all the time. So I believe it gives you a burst right away, but then I believe it settles down into something that I do enjoy. We'll pay attention to that this time and see if that is true. It definitely overwhelms the lavender and lemongrass from the soap. The aftershave does here. So we'll put another tick mark with my Sharpie here. If you sometimes forget whether you've put your tick mark in a book or on the envelope or on the blade itself, one little trick I thought of recently as I was answering a forum question is to when you set up all your gear, take your pin and put it away somewhere out of sight. Or vice versa, have it out. And then once you make your mark, change the location of the pin. If it starts out, then make your mark and put it away. Or vice versa, if it starts out, put away, then once you make your mark, put it right beside your envelope. And now you know that if the pin is out, you've made your mark, and you don't have to worry about repeating your incrementing that way. Or if it started out the other way, then if it's put away, you know that you made your mark. All right, well, it just a tiny bit of stinging. It didn't last very long at all. And so I think the witch hazel was a good idea. So the feather and the timeless were a really good combination for me. There are smoother razors out there that work better with the feather for me, but it was very nice. I do have a little bit of irritation, but it's probably that alcohol splash. So yeah, I wouldn't have a problem enjoying the feather with the timeless anytime I wanted to. Well, it was a good soap to use today. It didn't require a lot of analysis or thinking, just, hey, am I enjoying this or not? And I did enjoy it. But like I said, there's probably a bunch that I enjoy more. So there's that. But good to use, very good performance. And that first pass definitely needed some more water. And I added some. And the second and third passes were wonderful. Just exactly where they needed to be. Covered the blade and the razor working well together. We covered the firmness of the brush and the backbone there, hoping that still relaxes some. Maybe I'll give it 15 uses and reevaluate there around that point. I think we're good. So I hope that this shave has some good information for you. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and stay safe out there. I'm glad we've got some inoculations, some vaccines going out around the world, and I encourage you to jump into that, give that some good thought. And here's a little public message, because we know that the death toll is out there, that people are dying from this disease, and so when they develop the vaccines, there is a certain small percentage of people who will get some bad side effect. And they weigh that. That's a known issue. It happened with other vaccines, and they weigh that. And so they say, well, we're helping a vast number of people with the vaccine, and so we're preventing them from dying. And so how many people then are affected by this side effect? And so then they obviously have to weigh that out. And they don't release it until that number is just a small amount of people compared to the vast amount. You know, I previously had kind of some idealistic ideas, like why release it if you know that it's got some side effects? Well, the answer is because if they're releasing it helps 98% of the people that it impacts. If it prevents the deaths of all these people, then maybe it's worth the 2% side effects. So that's a reality. And that's an adult decision that people have to make. You know, it's not a fairy tale world, right? Anyway, so think about the vaccine. Get it when you can. It is my personal advice. Do your research. I don't know. Later it would be neat if we were able to choose, you know, which vaccines we get. But I'm really glad I'm able to work from home and be safe there, and not have to go out all the time and be at risk. So guys, take care. Have a good night, and I hope this video is good for you somehow. Bye.